Hello everyone, welcome to the video where today I'm going to be showing you a couple tips and tricks that I use that you can use too to get awesome looking screenshots like this one in your Rocket League replays. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this car, same thing. I'm going to go back to basically where I got that shot and how I got it, and I'm going to show you the settings that I use and everything like that. So first thing we want to do is go into a private match with unlimited boost. And typically I set it to Manfield Stormy because that's the same as the title screen, the lighting's the same, and that's what the car is going to look like when, if someone else were to build it, and on their console or on their PC. I want it to look the same, so typically I'll use this field. So I'm going to go ahead and join the blue team. I'm going to be using the blue goal to score in, because I want to get my boost, my trail, and my goal explosion all in the same shot. So what I typically do is I'll do a few tries of the same thing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically slowly push the ball towards the net and get my car ready. So what I'm going to be doing is boosting and basically drifting while I have that trail going, while the goal explosion is in a good spot. So I missed it there. I want to get the I want to be supersonic when I do that, so I can get the trail to show. And then we're basically just going to save that replay. We're going to do it a couple times. We'll save the replay, and then we'll go into our replay, and we'll do all the camera and cool stuff from there. That was pretty good. I want to angle my car a little bit more towards where the camera is going to be, which is going to be opposite the goal, facing this direction. So I'm going to try and turn a little bit more than I did in the last one. Push that in there. Try and get around here. And try and turn hard. There, that's pretty good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to hold select. That's going to prompt us to save our replay when we go to exit the match. I'm using an Xbox One controller, so just, same buttons for Xbox One, but it'll be whatever the bind is for you on PS4 or PS3, or on PC on keyboard. So next thing we're going to do, I'll just go over the options real quick for the video settings. Basically, once you're about to take your screenshot, you want to set all these settings to as high as you can get them, as high as your computer will allow. I'm going to turn this back on for demonstration of something in a moment. But this is typically what I have my settings at for screenshots and everything like that. For normal gameplay, I typically have them actually this high, but I have the anti-aliasing turned down a little bit. So you can go ahead and copy these settings. I turn motion blur and weather effects off because I don't want the rain in the shots for stormy fields and stuff like that, and I don't want the puddles on the ground. Certain maps it does look really cool, but I try to get the rain out of the shot just to make the focus more on the subject rather than the field. So let's go into our replay. I'm actually going to use a replay that I did a moment ago. Actually, I'll use the one we just made. I just got to you're going to have to bear with me while I find the angle. So first things first, what we want to do, we're going to pause the replay, and we're going to go into fly camera so that we can move around freely. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tap B 3 times. That's going to get rid of our nameplate above our player, and as soon as we start playing again, it'll get rid of this white ring around the ball. So that makes it so that we don't have any UI showing on the screen. It's just going to be focused on the car and on the shot we're taking. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit to the one goal that we had that I was pretty happy with. That was more near the end. So I think that's going to be this one. Just going to wait, going to go back a second there because it did that thing where it, in the replays it'll shoot the ball forward weirdly. So I want it to be not doing that. So I'm going to get that to go away, do that again, and try and get it to where the goal explosion is in the spot that I want, while the car is in the spot that I want. So that looks pretty good there. We lost the trail a little bit. So that was right after my car lost supersonic. So I want to go back just a little bit. Go back. And the reason I'm not doing this in slow motion is because if I were to, it would be making my boost like really short and my trail really short. And I want it to look exactly like it does when you're playing. So I use 100% speed. So actually, that's a pretty cool shot there, but I want that goal explosion to be doing the next part. Like right there. I might not have caught it. We might lose our trail before we actually get the goal explosion to that point. So we're going to try and get as close as we can. I'm just quickly double tapping A. So we might be able to get away with that because of the angle we have, but I'm actually not too happy with how far the car is this way. So I'm actually going to use that other spot that I said was pretty cool when the car is more in front of the net. It's a little sooner than that. So timing this is kind of important, but you know, it's not the main part of what we're going to be focusing on. You can just pick whenever you want to take the picture. So let's see here. Looks like we're pretty good. We want to get a little more angle, so we'll go a little bit farther. And yeah, it looks like we're not going to get the goal explosion in just the right spot. We're going to switch replays here to my other one, because I know there was a good spot that I used in this one before while testing, and we're going to use this instead. So let's go ahead and we're just going to quickly try and get to that spot and see if we can't get the shot. So it's going to be the next one. So we'll go to here. I'm fast forwarding if you couldn't see it. So there, you can see we have the goal explosion. We have the car facing away from the net, and we have a full boost tray on a full, what's it called, a full trail showing because we're supersonic. So a couple little things. I'm actually going to move it back just a little bit and time it a little better. Try and get that that pull-in looking effect there, just like that. So that's pretty cool there. And it's kind of up and to the right. You can see it's kind of off. It's not like centered, the goal explosion, which is actually kind of good for what we want because we're going to be coming in on an angle like this, and it's going to fill the top right of the shot a little more. So a couple things we want to do here. Clearly, our goal explosion is bright, like very, very bright. So I'm going to turn off bloom for this specific goal explosion because it's so bright. Usually I'd leave it on if possible because it gives those certain things that glow. Before I actually do that, I'm going to move the goal explosion to the side. You'll see the difference it makes. Just watch that right side of the screen as I turn this off. Boom. You see how it takes away all the white and just leaves us with the color, the pink. It's also got that 3D effect, the chromatic aberration going on there, which is really cool. I like to see that. So step 2, we're going to find the right amount of zoom to use for this. I usually zoom in on almost all my shots in this game. And it makes a big difference on where the car is versus where the goal is and like how the car looks. So to show this, I'm going to move backwards, but I'm going to zoom in while I move backwards. And I'm doing that by holding in the right stick. So as I do that, you'll notice the goal explosion appears a lot bigger, even though the car looks almost just about as close to us as it was before. But now the goal is like huge, and our car kind of widens itself out. So I'll try and show this by moving out again at the right speed. If I can get it, you'll see what I mean. The car looks like it gets wider as we zoom in more. But you'll notice also, if I zoom in too much, the ground gets level and the grass gets cut off by this like weird flat texture that our car sinks into. So what we have to do is find the right amount of zoom to where we get that grass still under our car while we're as close to it as possible, but also zoomed in as much as we need to be to get the framing we want. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the goal itself as a frame for our car. So it's going to surround our car a little bit, kind of like that. You can see we have the goal itself going around the car from there, leaving our car kind of in the center. And that's going to make our goal explosion look like a cool backdrop for our car. So next thing we want to do, another thing is to be eye level with the car. Usually when you're shooting any sort of picture like this, you want to be on the same level as the subject, in this case the car, as far as height goes, because the higher you are, the more you have to move back to get stuff in frame, and it kind of looks a little bit less focused on one subject. In this case, we want to be focused on the car. So we're going to try and get that zoom just right, so where that goal isn't really hitting the edges of the screen, but it's not, you know, invasive. I'm using rule of thirds to judge this. If you want to look that up in another video, feel free. There's plenty of videos out there to explain it. But basically, if you were to cut your screen into thirds vertically and thirds horizontally, and use those lines and intersections of those lines as guidelines for where to place stuff, it helps a whole bunch. So we're going to use the top of the goal and try to get it close to the rule of thirds, which it is about there. And then we're going to try and get this front point on the car as close to a point on those rule of thirds as well. So we're going to have to move around and angle it a little bit to get that to happen. And I'm also going to angle my shot by holding RB and turning like this, and that's going to give us a little bit of an angle. I like to do that because it makes it look like the car is more like in a moving, like it's moving more, like there's more movement is what it's called. But I mean, that's camera terminology for you, photography stuff. But yeah, that just adds a little bit of more of an interesting look to it when you initially glance at it. So now, like I said, what we want to do is basically position the shot so we're nice and low. We have that goal explosion in there, but it's not completely covered. So we're going to find the right height for that. And we're going to zoom in as much as we can while still having that goal in the frame for this shot. Like I said, some other shots you might want to get just this would look cool. But I like how that goal explosion makes the car look. We're going to do that. We're going to zoom in a little bit more. Now, get a little close to the car. Frame it up to where we like. I'm going to angle it just a little bit more. And try and frame it up nice. Zoom out just a little more. Try and actually zoom in so I can get the goal around the car more. So that looks pretty good there. I like that. That's actually better. I want to get more of that goal in there. That's pretty good. So what I want to do, there's two ways we can do this. We can either use the goal explosion as is and take this shot here, which looks just fine. But I want the focus to be more on the car and then the goal explosion as more of an afterthought and a backdrop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap select. That's going to open up this window over here, which gives us our special effects. And I'm just going to do my usual, which is blur all the way up, focus strength all the way up. And I'm going to turn this all the way down until our car is out of focus. And then we're going to go up slightly, tick by tick, until we get the car and the boost in focus. Luckily, this boost is one of the few that Rocket Leagues allow us to be in focus, even though the background is out. Usually, if you're low like this on the camera, you have to kind of work around it, and boost will get cut off by that focus blur, so watch out for that. Most boosts do get cut off like that. This is one of the very few that don't. So what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to get what we want in focus and everything we don't out of focus. So that's a good spot right there, that 10 you can see on the bottom right where that's moving to. That's just about underneath our goal, or boost, to keep the grass behind it out of focus while it's as in focus as it can be. And now that, as you can see, looks a lot better than most of the shots you see around. Basic menu shot or anything like that. This just kind of adds a little bit extra, a little bit extra punch to your image. It gives it that little bit of extra wow factor, So that's basically it. That's basically all the things I typically do to get my shots to look as cool as possible, while not modifying any colors or using any different field lightings. Like Farmstead will make this glow a lot more. You have Forbidden Temple that mutes a lot of colors. So this field is typically, there's no crazy shaders or any crazy lighting effects that go on this field, so that's why I typically use it. And so yeah, I hope that helps you guys out with getting those really cool looking screenshots. Getting down on the level with the car, turning your video settings up, and just zooming in a bunch. Those are the three main things that make for a really great shot. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.